Today is Wednesday, the 8th of February. This week in Battle Drill Devotionals, we hear God's people cry out for help and God's answer through his covenant, reminding us that God always knows the best time to act. Our passage for this week is Exodus chapter 2 and verses 11 to 25. Today we're reading the Good News translation. Moses escapes to Midian. When Moses had grown up, he went out to visit his people, the Hebrews, and he saw how they were forced to do hard labor. He saw an Egyptian kill a Hebrew, one of Moses' own people. Moses looked all around, and when he saw that no one was watching, he killed the Egyptian and hid his body in the sand. The next day he went back and saw two Hebrew men fighting. He said to the one who was in the wrong, "Why are you beating up a fellow Hebrew?" The man answered, "Who made you our ruler and judge? Are you going to kill me just as you killed that Egyptian?" And Moses was afraid and said to himself, "People have found out what I have done." When the king heard about what had happened, he tried to have Moses killed, but Moses fled and went to live in the land of Midian. One day when Moses was sitting by a well, 7 daughters of Jethro, the priest of Midian, came to draw water and fill the troughs for their father's sheep and goats. But some shepherds drove Jethro's daughters away. Then Moses went to their rescue and watered their animals for them. When they returned to their father, he asked, "Why have you come back so early today?" "An Egyptian rescued us from the shepherds," they answered, "and he even drew water for us and watered our animals." "Where is he?" he asked his daughters. "Why did you leave the man out there? Go and invite him to eat with us." So Moses decided to live there, and Jethro gave him his daughter Zipporah in marriage, who bore him a son. Moses said to himself, "I am a foreigner in this land, and so I name him Gershom." Years later, the king of Egypt died, but the Israelites were still groaning under their slavery and cried out for help. Their cry went up to God, who heard their groaning and remembered his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He saw the slavery of the Israelites and was concerned for them. Amen. When you feel hopeless and you talk to God, he can help you make specific prayers to him. As you turn to God and lay before him your situation and the difficult circumstances you find yourself in, you begin to gain some perspective on what is causing your difficulties. As the Israelites began to cry out for help, they knew for certain what was causing their misery. God had promised they would be set free from their captivity in Egypt, but they were still under the burden of slavery. They knew they needed rescuing. They knew they needed God to fulfill the promise he had made them. The Bible holds many verses that can help, whatever the source of our unhappiness. There are verses of lament, which can help you cry out to the Lord in your pain. There are verses that tell you of the goodness of God, about his justice, his grace, and his mercy. And there are many, many promises of God. In any difficult situation, you can pray one of these verses back to God. And when you do, you will sense hope returning and filling your heart once more. As you think about this during your day-to-day, this question may help you go deeper. What Bible verses do you find particularly comforting when you're facing difficult circumstances? I hope to see you again soon for another battle drill.